in every district, 5 incident sites were selected. They were hospitals, schools, office building, and a bridge, and a residential complex. So everywhere we have carried out the rescue and management operation. The makeshift arrangements are also done. The camps were set up. The ambulances were called. The fire tenders were put into services. The Air Force was put into services. And then BRO, wherever the road broke, wherever the bridge broke, BRO and all other PWD departments were put into the place. Friends, before we take this conference further, let me introduce. To my right is Brigadier Kuldeep Singh from National Disaster Management Authority. And the next one is SP Fire, and also Commander SDRF. Then we have Colonel Gopi. He's from the Border Road Organization. Then we have a flying officer from Air Force. Then we also have a commander from the NDRF. There were officers from BSNL also, civil aviation. This is a well-coordinated exercise. And today where you are sitting, this is supposed to be State Emergency Operating Center. At the state level, SEOC is activated, and in district level, DEOC is activated. DEOC is District Emergency Operating Center. So at the district level, responsible officer is, we have issued a notification, responsible officer is Chief Secretary, and the incident commander is Principal Secretary Home. And in district level, responsible officer is Deputy Commissioner, and then incident commander, ADC or ESC, whomever they appoint. So we have in district and state level, we have well set up. Before we go ahead, I'll just request Brigadier Kuldeep Singh from NDMA to give a briefing on. Okay. Because he has conducted, the first was 30th January, we have had a conference and then consultation. Then also he had come, we had a video conferencing with all the districts. Yesterday also during the tabletop exercise, we had video conference, Chief Secretary, everyone was here, and then we had a video conference with all the district, DCs and SPs, and the district officers. And then today also we have had that one, and all we have done under the guidance of Brigadier Kuldeep Singh.
Thank you. The director is Principal Secretary is very kind. I think they did most of the work. I did basically the talking. Okay, now you are well aware that Arunachal Pradesh is a frontline state of India. And the northern districts are also some of the most critical districts from every point of view, including national security. Unfortunately, Arunachal Pradesh is also located in Zone 5, meaning seismic Zone 5, that it is vulnerable to the most deadly earthquakes. And you're well aware that there's a lot of talk that a huge trembler is waiting in the Himalayas to happen, and it is long overdue. That's the talk. And it's based on this wisdom of the government of Arunachal Pradesh that both NDMA and the state government decided to conduct a mock exercise. Now, this mock exercise that we conduct is not just conducted immediately. What we do is we do that in 3 phases. In phase 1, we had carried out training on the incident response system. What is the incident response system? The incident response system is supposed to be the preferred mechanism for responding to a disaster across India in every state. As you are well aware, disaster management in India is a state responsibility. It's not a state subject, but it's a state responsibility. And in every state, we expect them to respond using the incident response system. Why are we insisting on that? Because this is the only system which allows you to carry out what we call the whole of the state response. You would notice that in the case of a disaster, it's only in the case of a war and disaster that every department of the state gets mobilized. If you have a count of all the departments, you will find that there is not a single department of the state or at the district level which does not get involved in disaster management in case of a major disaster. So therefore, the incident response system allows a whole of the state response. Now, so we had done IRS training, spread the awareness of IRS, after which we carried out an orientation and coordination conference. In the orientation and coordination conference, what is discussed is how we will do the tabletop exercise. Now that was on 30th of January. Yesterday we conducted a tabletop exercise on video conferencing, and the tabletop exercise was based exactly on today's scenario. Every bit of what could go wrong was discussed mutually with the districts, and we arrived at viable, feasible solutions to how to go about the thing. And today, of course, was phase 3 of the entire process that we call the disaster process, in which we carried out the mock exercise starting off. Actually, we started off at 9:30, but the trigger was given, after which the physical actions began. Now, in this, because the scenario was what we call a medium probability, extremely high impact event, which is what is expected in the state of Arunachal in zone 5, we had said there's an 8.5 magnitude earthquake with a MSK of 8 and above in all the districts, and the epicenter was in lower Dibang Valley. So considering that, we had ensured that it is not only the whole of the state response, but it's a national response. And to that end, that's the reason you find everybody from the NDRF, the Air Force, the Indian Army, the Border Roads Organization, and the CAPF here. They all participated and they assisted, because it was what we say a L3 event. An L3 event is an event which is beyond the capacity. It is so severe, so major, it's beyond the capacity of a state to manage within the time frames that are given. So that was the thing. Now, since we cannot have random damage being predicted, what we have done was, across every district, we have selected 5 sites. 1 school, 1 residential complex, 1 hospital, 1 bridge and canal, and 1 government office. And every district had to respond to these structures being damaged. In that, they had to first carry out search and rescue. The search and rescue was carried out, after which the personnel who were rescued were given medical treatment, triage was conducted, and after triage, they were transported to the hospitals concerned. In the case of hospital, we had said 1 hospital has also got damaged, and in the hospital, we carried out evacuation to another hospital from there, which included patients as well as nursing staff and doctors of the hospital. So this was a translocation of patients and this thing. After which, we had insisted that the hospital be rebuilt partly, or the critical part of the hospital, that the operation theatre be rebuilt using prefab materials to ensure business continuity at some of the most critical times. So this was the general scenario. In addition to that, there was a road blockage on account of a landslide in most districts, which was addressed by the Border Road Organization using the heavy equipment that they have, or construction, reconstruction or repair of a bridge. And apart from that, there was 1 CBR incident, that is a chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear event which we had predicted just outside here, to which the NDRF also responded. Now, the aim of this entire exercise was not only to assess the capability of the state and the district, but also to demonstrate capability. Please note what I'm saying. It was not only to assess the capability, but also for everyone to demonstrate the capability of India to be able to manage a disaster of this type in such a dire situation. So that is why it was a whole of the state followed by a whole of the nation response, which was mustered around this incident. Now, to sum up, I would say that I'm very satisfied with the way this exercise has been conducted. It was very heartening to know that initially, because the state has not conducted a state level mock exercise or even a small exercise for many years, But this government took it upon themselves to do it at a very rapid rate, and there were some apprehensions. But after 30th, I was very pleasantly surprised to find such proactive involvement, which was at times personally being monitored by the Chief Secretary himself and by the other officers over there. And there was a huge amount of interaction between all of us. And if you see the WhatsApp feed that I have, it was, I would look at the phone, I would have, by morning, 100 messages, 150 messages coming in, questions, answers, and the districts were having, sort of meetings with themselves, they were carrying out training with themselves. And I think that is perhaps one reason that, I can say with all this thing that in case of a very unfortunate event of a tragedy like this, the state yet will be able to stand up and take care of its own.